Hello guys, it is Jackson coming back at you with the computer. This is probably going to be video 2 because the first one was kind of the build, and then this is kind of going to be more so the other stuff. Kind of more getting into like the actual like electronics of it and like after you build it, because trust me, that part is just as complex and has quite frankly taken up way more time, mostly because I had to figure it out on my own. But quick update on the actual hardware. I figured out why the fans weren't turning on. It's because they forgot to ship me the RGB connector that allows the fans to be RGB. So they were only capable of ever being just normal fans. So I took them out. Put back in the original black ones, because why spend 40 bucks on fans if they're the exact same thing as what you already own? But either way, switched those out and we put in the old fans, and now we are going to see if we can finish up the RGB on this thing, and then I'll give you a quick look. So I just found a video on my Wraith Prism cooler RGB, which is, it looks like there's a couple wires that comes with the package. Basically what you can do is when you put on your CPU fan, which is the Wraith Prism, you can plug it straight into your CPU fan on your motherboard, and then it does turn on the RGB, but you can't control the RGB. It just gives it power basically, and like turns on the fan and tells it when to blow harder because, you know, the CPU gets hot. But if you want control, it looks like we're going to have to throw a couple extra cables in there, so that's the next step. So, I got it in. The video said to use one of the cables and to only use the USB one if you want like full customization. So, I used a credit card to get this little rubber thing out and plugged it in and threw it into my last USB port on my motherboard, since the other one was already being used by my thing. But and again, I had to take out my graphics card. That's the third time I've had to take it out for this build. So maybe I should just leave it out from now on. But now we are on to testing if I can actually change the colors and stuff on my CPU fan. If I can, we are looking good. That was the problem. Totally works. I gave it a little test run just to make sure it works before I re-put everything back together. But it works. I can customize my CPU fan now to, you know, look good with the rest of my RGB, but let's throw it back together. I'm going to put it all back away, and then after that I will run you through the tech that got me here. All right, after quite a few hours of hard work and really fiddling with this thing to make it like look good and sync up, we've made it. But But it wasn't easy getting there. Plugging everything in and making sure it all works was the first step. But now, let's go through the electronics. Basically, to do a quick rundown, and of course I could go more into depth, but one, you're going to want to know all of the fans and products inside of your machine. So I got those Corsair RAM drives that are RGB. I had to get the iQ app. That is hosted with Corsair. And so you can see here, this is my Corsair RAM drives. And right here, I can affect the lighting effects and change the lighting. That's just for the RAM though. If all the rest of my products were Corsair, then I could change them all within this app, but they're not. I have NZXT fans, and also just the system is based off of that. Like my entire case is the NZXT. So that mostly affects that. So let's get into that next. Then you have to go do a NZXT cam download. And then that allows me to edit the light strip I have on the top of my computer, as well as the fans in the front. And so that lets me alter those things. And again, that's just the NZXT cam download that you can find online. You're definitely, quick side note before I end, you're definitely gonna wanna make sure that you, so for me, my NZXT cam app, it rates my PC temperature, its load, GPU load and temps, RAM load, storage. So it does kind of an overview of my computer. You're definitely going to want something along those lines. So whatever case you buy is probably going to have like a manager app, just like the NZXT cam app. And you're definitely going to want to just keep in mind that to make sure that you keep all of your stats in order so that you know that your fans are working and that your CPU isn't overheating. But make sure that you get an app like that that can assess temperatures and stuff like that and how well your PC is working so that you don't accidentally fry your entire PC. And then last thing was the cooler, the AMD fan cooler, which was kind of what I was struggling with for a while, and I had to plug that USB into. You have to get the Cooler Master. Download for that. And if you turn on the Cooler Master and it says, please plug in, your AMD product, that means that you haven't plugged in the RGB for your fan yet. But here, let's open it up. And see, once you plugged it in, this will pop up. And then you're able to edit the colors of your fan. And again, if you use the USB, you can change everything, but if you use the RGB, you can only change the fan colors. The circle that goes around the outside and the logo cannot be changed. So definitely use the USB, it's just as easy. But if you do all of those things, then you are able to edit this style of your RGB, which is what I've done. So if I wanted to change the RGB, so that right now I have it set on this blue swirly kind of thing. If I wanted to set it to like red gamer mode, then I would have to go into each app and change each of the RGB settings. There is something called Razor Chroma where you can like sync up all your things, but quite frankly, it gets a little bit more complex if you try to do that stuff. So if you're building your own PC, I'd recommend one, sticking with the same products for all of them. So if you buy a Corsair, case for your PC, then I recommend buying Corsair fans, Corsair, RAM drives, fans, LED bars, all of that, because then all you need to do is open the iQ Corsair download, and then you can change everything within there and sync it all up. But since mine is a mix of like 3 or 4 different like main parts, I have to change it up. And I have to use different apps to customize each. But yes, so that is how you do RGB on your computer. Alright, so before we play any games, one, we have to make sure that we get the right downloads for our games. So, first thing we're going to need is you're going to need to download whatever driver host you have. So I have NVIDIA, or however you say it, NVIDIA. But and so you need to get this GeForce Experience download, which you can find online. Just search, downloads for drivers. One, you can play your games through there. Two, if you click on this drivers tab in the top, then you can say, check. You can do check for updates, and then you install your drivers so that your graphics card is up to date. Now that's a really big deal for graphics. If you don't do that, your graphics card is pointless. So make sure that you download that and update your graphics card. So it's as easy as that for your graphics card. Next thing you're going to want to do is go down and click your Windows tab, click Settings, and you're going to want to do Updates and Security in the bottom left. And you're going to want to check for any updates with Windows. You're just going to want to make sure that your Windows is up to date, because mine was way out of date. So I updated that, which was also good. You're also going to want to download things such as Java. You're going to want to do a Java download. Make sure it's not for Intel if you don't have Intel. So just make sure you do it for Windows 10 and you do a little Java download, because you're going to need Java for just basic running of stuff, like Discord needed a Java thing. So I kept getting an error message because I didn't have Java yet. But make sure you also download Java onto your PC so that you have that. And then for communicating with friends and making it kind of cross-platform and fun, you're going to want to get Discord. Talk to your friends while you guys are gaming. That's definitely the main form of communication. And again, for some reason, my mic does not like the headphone jack that is currently being used for it. So I think what I'm going to do is switch it out for, I'm going to get a USB adapter for my headset, and then I can throw it in there. That, or I'm just going to buy a mic that is, naturally has a USB. But till then, I'm just going through Steam. Steam is its own walkthrough. It's very complex. But I download my games through Steam, mostly. And now, I'm just going to download a couple games, and we're going to try playing them. Alright, so I tried running GTA through my PC just to make sure that my graphics were good and that my games were working well. And it worked like a charm. GTA ran super smoothly, way smoother than the Xbox. And now I'm going to install a couple other games and test those, but as of right now, it looks like our PC is fully functioning, fully running. It can game at high FPS. And it has got the RGB out the wazoo, and I'm planning on eventually actually buying more RGB fans, that will actually work in my PC and not, miss a part. But until then, that's it for this video, and the PC is done. And that's pretty much everything that I've learned throughout. The rest is up to you guys in customizing your own PC and how you want it after that. So that's it from this video. We'll catch you on the next one. Check out.